Hi team, I hope you're all well. Today we are here to do something a little bit different, but something that I have done before. So I'm going to be recommending you books and movies that give me the same vibes. So if you like this movie and or TV show, I recommend you read this book, but the recommendations can switch. So if you've read this book, I recommend you this movie and or TV show. So I have done one before, as I've just mentioned. I will leave a link to it up here and in the description box down below. There is only one book and movie that will cross over from that video, otherwise they're all different, but there's a reason why I'm mentioning it's the movies more specific. There's a reason why I'm mentioning it again. So other than that, the rest of them are different in that video. I do have more recommendations for this video and I'm excited to get into them. But before we do that, I did just want to thank the sponsor of today's video, who are Serious Readers. Are you surprised? I absolutely love Serious Readers. If you've not been here before and this is your first video, welcome. I hope you have a good time here. But I have been working with Serious Readers for quite some time now. It's probably been well over a year now. But I absolutely love this light and I cannot thank them enough for wanting to work with me on this, because I'm obsessed with this light. As a migraine sufferer and a headache sufferer on the regular, I had one this morning, I use this light every single time I'm sitting in this chair. Because of the daylight wavelength technology within these lights, it replicates the daylight spectrum as closely as possible, which does mean that it really helps with focusing and with eye strain and things like that, which are things that always cause me problems with my headaches and migraine. If I read by no light, that is a struggle in general, but if I'm on my Kindle and I don't have a light on, that really hurts my eyes. If I read by the big light, if I read by a normal lamp, I will eventually get eye strain and end up with a headache. This, perfect. It does the job every single time and it really helps me out. You can make the light dimmer and also brighter, and you can also change the focus. I don't think you will be able to see how this is working, but you can change the focus as well. And it's not just a light made for readers, in all honesty. If you have quite an intricate hobby that you like to do, whether that be like puzzles or whether you're painting figurines or if you're colouring in or you're doing diamond painting, this light will probably help you out significantly with that as well, especially with the eye strain on something that delicate, especially with the figurine painting or diamond painting. This light is wonderful. So if you're interested in potentially getting your hands on one of these, I do have a discount code in the description box down below, but the code is Steph and it will get you £150 off a high definition light, as well as free UK shipping, and I cannot recommend them enough. So please do go and check them out. The link for them will be in the description box down below, as well as my code Steph. So please do go check them out, and thank you again to Serious Readers for working with me and sponsoring this video. I truly appreciate it. So let's get straight into the recommendations, shall we? If you like Wednesday, the TV show on Netflix, I am recommending you Over My Dead Body by Sweeney Boo. Different, similar vibes. The reason why I'm recommending this is solely based on the vibes. The atmosphere in this book is fantastic. The school setting is very similar to Wednesday. However, it is different in the sense that this is witches. So we are following Abigail, who needs to buckle down this year. She doesn't want to be getting herself in any bother. It appears that maybe she's gotten herself in bother in years previous. However, very quickly that all goes a little bit wrong when her mentee, Noreen, goes missing and she ends up having to try and find her. There are monsters in here, there's a lot of witchcraft in here, and the vibes are on point for spooky season. I would highly recommend this. A second one is coming out soon. I'm not sure 100% when, but a second one is coming out soon and I'm so excited to get my hands on it. But this is just such a beautiful graphic novel, and I think it gives the perfect vibes for fans of Wednesday. So if you're a fan of Wednesday, I'd recommend this. If you've read this before and you haven't watched Wednesday, go and watch Wednesday, because the vibes are very, very similar for sure. Okay, next, if you enjoy The Lakehouse with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, I freaking love this movie. I would recommend to you The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. While reading this, I actually made a TikTok about the fact that I was in the middle of this and it was giving the Lakehouse vibes. So I went hunting for it. At the time, my movies were in the spare room. It was before Andy moved in, and I went hunting for it. I made a whole ass TikTok about it, but it was very much so giving me the Lakehouse vibes. So we're following Clementine, who's having an absolute nightmare at the moment with her life in general. And then one day she finds a random man standing in her kitchen who has the perfect recipe for lemon meringue pie. So random, but stick with me. This mysterious man is just standing in her kitchen. She strikes up a conversation with him. It's all very, very confusing and they can't figure out what's going on. This is his apartment, but it's not, because it's Clementine's apartment. And as it turns out, he's living 7 years in the past, but he's in present day in Clem's apartment and they can't figure out what is going on. As things start to move forward and they have more and more visits together, it turns out that she's actually falling for him, and it is just giving every single vibe of the Lakehouse. If you've seen this movie, you're gonna love this. And if you've read this, you're gonna love this movie, let me tell you. So similar vibes, and it's amazing. And I love them both. I did give this 5 stars. I love this movie. It's one of my favourite comfort movies of all time. So I would highly recommend reading this one if you've watched this movie. Watch this movie if you've read this one, because you're gonna love them equally. Okay, next we have the TV show Yellowstone. I love this show, and I got to a point where it was like, was it a summer break or something that went on way too long? And I stopped at that point and just never went back, and I really need to because I'm obsessed and I loved it. But if you love this show, I'm going to recommend you the whole of the Chestnut Springs series. However, specifically, I'm going to recommend you Heartless by Elsie Silver, which is the second book in the Chestnut Springs series. Hear me out. If I was the casting director for this movie, you know who would be my Kate Eaton? It would be Rip Wheeler from Yellowstone, aka Cole Hauser, but specifically playing Rip. I will show a picture of him on screen here. Tell me that's not Kate Eaton. If you know the show, this will make sense, but the whole way through this book, this is the man who was Cade for me. The whole way through. Loved him. Absolutely loved him. I will say as well, I absolutely love Rip and Beth's relationship. So toxic, but I love it. I just love the way he deals with her and the way that he loves her. I just love it so much. So anyway, if you enjoy Yellowstone, I highly recommend the Chestnut Springs series, specifically this. Tell me I'm wrong about Cole Hauser, because I don't think I am. I don't think I am in the slightest. But yeah, I love this. If you've enjoyed this series, I would recommend Yellowstone. It is very much so, much darker actually than this series, that's for sure, in the background, but it's very good. I would highly recommend. Okay, next we have the repeat movie that I was just on about at the beginning of this video. So we have Pacific Rim. If you've enjoyed the movie Pacific Rim, in the last video, I recommended you Hard Reboot by Django Wexler. This is a novella, it's very, very good, and it is queer, and it is about fighting robots and stuff, and I really, really enjoyed it. However, I also recommended, if you enjoyed this, I recommended not only Pacific Rim, but Real Steel as well, which is another fantastic movie, and I love it. I've come back to Pacific Rim specifically, and I did want to mention this book again just because I don't think it gets enough hype. But the book that I have read more recently that I think is very much so like Pacific Rim is Iron Widow by Kieran J. Zhao. I loved this book. This was so good. I need to move on to Heavenly Tyrant, I think it's called, the second one. But I really enjoyed this, and it's actually pitched as, I think it's The Handmaid's Tale meets Pacific Rim. And I haven't read The Handmaid's Tale or watched anything to do with The Handmaid's Tale, but I would wholeheartedly agree with the Pacific Rim combo. So highly recommend that. Pacific Rim, if you didn't know, is like fighting robots. Essentially, it's humans getting inside robots to fight kaiju. So again, probably any kind of kaiju manga you would like Pacific Rim. I haven't read kaiju manga. I do have one, but I haven't read it. So if you enjoy Pacific Rim, I recommend to you Iron Widow, Hard Reboot. And if you like Hard Reboot, I recommend Pacific Rim and Real Steel. That's the recommendation. Okay, this one might seem a bit weird for some people, but this is a very recent read for me. If you like Game of Thrones, I recommend to you A Fire in the Sky by Sophie Jordan. Now, hear me out. This is based solely on the audiobook. Not solely on the audiobook, heavily on the audiobook, but also the writing style in this book, I would say, as well. I'm thinking solely along this could be such a stretch. I'm thinking along the lines of King of the North. So Jon Snow is fell. Anyone else with me on this? The audiobook really helped with this. Joe Jameson did the narration for Fell, and he was fantastic. And the whole time I had Jon Snow stuck in my head. I just couldn't get it out. So I would recommend the dragons as well. There is dragons in this. So on that basis as well, I don't know, the beginning of this, the arranged marriage was giving a little bit of Daenerys Targaryen and Khal Drogo, but also not at the same time, because Fell wasn't giving Khal Drogo, he was giving King of the North vibes. I don't know how to explain myself, but it's giving Game of Thrones. That's what I got from this. Anyone else with me on this? Maybe. Clearly Game of Thrones is a lot more violent than this. Just bear that in mind if you have read this and you're like, ooh, Game of Thrones sounds great. Very violent. Just be warned. Okay, next we have Sweet Home Alabama. I haven't seen this movie in such a long time, but I would recommend you Take My Name by Brooke Montgomery, which is an indie author. And I would recommend these two together because in Take My Name, we have RFMC and MMC. It's been a while since I've read them and I cannot fully remember their names, and they're not in the synopsis, which is so helpful. But they essentially got together when they were very young, got married very young, and then she decided that she didn't want to stay in the small town. So she ended up leaving and he didn't go with her. He was helping with the family business, etc. He didn't go with her. And she then met somebody else. He's now got down on one knee and she has said yes. The only problem is she's still married to her ex-husband, who's not her ex-husband, he's still her current husband. And present fiance does not know. So she has to go back to Willow Branch Mountain to go and ask for a divorce. And he says to her, give me 1 week, just 1 week. And let's just triple, quadruple check that this is what you want. And so you have Sweet Home Alabama. They're giving similar vibes, okay? So if you have watched Sweet Home Alabama, I recommend this book. It is the first in a new series. The second one is coming out in October, so you're quite early on in the release of this as well. And it's on Kindle Unlimited. Highly recommend. If you have read this one, try Sweet Home Alabama. Similar vibes. Okay, next, this is probably a recommendation that you've seen a bajillion times, but I'm going to do it anyway. If you enjoy Sleepless in Seattle, say it with me, all at the same time. Try First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. I love this movie. It is so good. We have Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. Love a Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan duo. Obsessed. Some of my favourite movies. He ends up phoning in on a radio show at the behest of his son because he thinks that his dad is still struggling with grieving his wife many years later, and his son's like, you should phone into this radio station, blah, 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 and he does, and he ends up in conversation with Meg Ryan. Somewhere down the line. It's been a couple of years since I've watched that movie, but that's the general gist of that movie. This, we have Adrian and we have Lucy. Adrian runs a radio station, but he is very, very does not believe in love. But he runs a radio station surrounding love and romance. Lucy's daughter phones into the radio station one night talking about the fact that she thinks that her mum is very lonely and all of this stuff, and Lucy catches her and ends up apologising to Aidan on the radio, and Aidan ends up asking her what is going on, and she ends up just pouring her heart out to him on this radio station. This ends up going viral. The radio station isn't doing well, by the way. This ends up going viral for the radio station, and they start asking Lucy if she will come in and do a couple of segments with Aidan and see if they can get her a couple of dates, because, you know, that's what they do. Until the spark between Aidan and Lucy, something else. This was so good. I had an arc of this, so I haven't listened to the audiobook, but I imagine it's very good. I hope that they've done a good job with it and the production of it has been really good, because this does have that whole, you know, podcast radio element to it, and I'm hoping that they leaned into that heavily with the audio. I haven't listened to it yet, so I don't know. But these two, match made in heaven. Match made in heaven. If you like this, try this. If you like this, try this. If you've read and watched them both, you already know where I'm going. Okay, next, if you enjoy Carrie, I know there's a book for this already, and you probably already know where I'm going with this as well, but if you enjoy the movie Carrie, I would recommend to you The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is actually a Carrie reimagining. Okay, so this one is following Maddie, and she's always been an easy target for bullies, and she has always just kind of got on with it because she's had more pressing issues to deal with. One day, a rainstorm hits, and it ends up revealing her biggest secret yet. Maddie is actually biracial, but she's been passing white her whole life. So this does start up quite the horrific bullying and racial acts, etc., against her. So because of this horrific bullying against Maddie, the school board has made the decision to do an integrated prom to show some unity. And this ends up going a little bit wrong, like it does in Carrie. You know where the story is going. That is pretty much what's going on with this one. So it is Carrie, but very much so with a twist in a modern day setting, and I would highly recommend it. This was absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend the audiobook. Cannot recommend it enough. It was so good. But if you enjoy the movie Carrie, or even the book Carrie, I would highly recommend picking this one up. It was so very good. And if you have read this one, maybe try the original, both the movie and the book, both the movies. I know that there has been a modern one done, and the book as well. So those two, it makes sense. I reckon you've probably heard this combination multiple times. Okay, if you like One Tree Hill, I have a couple of recommendations for you for different reasons. I'm going to recommend you Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. Be wary of this one, check your triggers before you go into it, but I'm recommending you this one because there is a sports element to it, very different. Basketball, rugby. There is a found family element to this one. There is quite a bit of trauma going on in this one as well, which is quite similar to a little bit what is going on in here. Not maybe quite as deep as this one, but still, I think more so than anything, the sports and the found family definitely gives this quite a good comparison, and I would recommend it on that basis. We also have Night Shift by Annie Cran. I absolutely love this one. This one is basketball, same as One Tree Hill, and we have the whole Naily vibes going on in here, with the fact that she is teaching him some stuff, like she's helping tutor him, etc. And then they start dating, and it's so good. And the chemistry between these two, very similar to the chemistry between Naily. So if you enjoy your Naily vibes, I would recommend Night Shift. Similar to the Naily vibes, I would also recommend The Deal by Elle Kennedy. Incredible Naily vibes. Again, the whole she's tutoring him, and then they start dating situation again, but ice hockey. So depending on which sport you're into, you've got a couple of options there. Binding 13, Night Shift by Annie Cran. Can't recommend this book enough. Very much so gave Naily vibes. And The Deal by Elle Kennedy, if you're interested in One Tree Hill and you enjoyed One Tree Hill. And then last but by no means least, which I'm grateful for because my camera for some reason is dying yet again, we have Sons of Anarchy. If you're a fan of Sons of Anarchy, it is a motorcycle club series. I would recommend to you Wolf by Paisley Hope. This is a dark romance. I have a second recommendation for you. This is a dark romance, and it is set in a motorcycle club, and it is absolutely fantastic, and I love it. If you wanted more spice from Sons, you're going to get it in here. It's very good. I loved this. It was fantastic. It is very spicy indeed. There is some knife play in here. It's the first time I've come across it in a book before. Safe to say, I wasn't expecting to enjoy it, but I did. It's fantastic, and I would highly recommend it. Fan of Sons, pick up Wolf by Paisley Hope. The other book that I would recommend to you is Kings of Kearney by Nevessa Allen. I know that she's very popular for the Into Darkness series, Lights Out, and also Caught Up. However, I read this first, and this was incredible. And I was really hoping it was going to be a series, and it doesn't look like it's going to be, and I'm really sad about it because I loved this book. It's on Kindle Unlimited. Can't recommend it enough. Another motorcycle club another motorcycle club book. Very reminiscent of Sons, so I would recommend picking that one up as well. I don't think it's quite as dark as Wolf, but it depends on your level of dark, because some people don't think that Wolf is that dark. So depends on your level of dark, but this is spicy, and I would recommend it. It was very, very good. And I actually think I want to reread it soon, because it was a couple of years ago. I read it as an arc. It was a long time ago that I read this book. Not enough people are talking about this. It's so, so good. So fan of Sons, definitely recommend Wolf and also Kings of Kearney, if you're a fan of this. and vice versa. If you're a fan of both of those books or one of them, try Sons, it's very good. Again, a bit dark on the dark side with like the side hustles that the club do, a little bit like Yellowstone, but otherwise absolutely fantastic, can't recommend them enough. So those are your movie/TV show recommendations. 2 books. If you like this movie/TV show, try this book. If you like this book, try this movie/TV show. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Chat to me in the comments down below. Let me know if you have any other recommendations based off of these movies and or based off of these books for movies or TV shows. Let me know in the comments down below, and if you wanted to see another one of these, I can do some more research and find some more recommendations. I need to start writing these down because there's a couple. I have one in my head for Pretty Woman, and I was thinking to myself, because I recommended in my last video The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang for Pretty Woman, and it's 1000% the recommendation that majority of people will be giving you if you've seen these videos on TikTok or anywhere else. That is the combination you're going to get. But I had one recently and I was sat there thinking to myself, this was giving me Kiss Quotient vibes, which means that it was giving me Pretty Woman vibes, and I cannot for the life of me remember what book it was. And I'm fairly certain I probably made a comment about it in a video, but I can't be asked to troll through my videos, so I've got to start making a note of these in future. The only reason I remembered what book The Lakehouse was because I did that TikTok. So got to start making a note of them. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Chat to me in the comments down below, and thank you again to the sponsor of this video, who are Serious Readers. I truly appreciate it. If you would like £150 off a high definition light and free UK shipping, you can use my code Steph in the description box down below with their link, and you can get both of those things. And I again highly recommend. Thank you again to Serious Readers sponsoring this video, and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye for now.